before I dive into different bias and harassment scenarios and how to navigate them, I will share the key to navigating harassment and bias. These are the resilience mindset and the reporting framework. These tools will be applied to every scenario video that you will see in this section to share how I use these tools to navigate bias and harassment. I want you at this point to realize that this video you're watching right now is the course. This is what I'm teaching in the course. If there's just one thing or two things I want you to take out of this course, it is this: the resilience mindset and the reporting framework that I use when I navigate harassment and bias. The rest of the information in this course is there for you to build a foundation on which to develop your resilience mindset and use the reporting framework. Now, you still need everything in this course, but these 5 truths and the 5 variables that I'm going to be describing in this video are the keys to navigating harassment and bias. So listen up and grab a paper and pen to take notes with. All right, here we go. The resilience mindset is a set of 5 truths that I've instilled in myself so that I feel empowered to identify, address, and resolve harassment. The reporting framework consists of 5 key variables that I consider when I proceed to report harassment. You can think of these as a step 1 and step 2. First, you adopt the resilience mindset, and then you use the reporting framework. So let's get into step 1, the resilience mindset. The resilience mindset consists of 5 truths. First, I'll talk about each truth, and then I'll go more into detail about each one. Later on, as I go through the scenarios, I will be applying this mindset for each one, so you'll see how I use this, more in like a real life situation. The 5 truths of the resilience mindset are the following. Number 1, to do your best work, you have to feel valued and appreciated and safe in your work environment. Number 2, you have a right to feel safe and comfortable in your work environment. Number 3, you only have control over your own actions. Number 4, everything is a practice. And number 5, the situation is not resolved until you feel safe and comfortable in your work environment or until you feel like you've reached justice. There is a critical moment when the resilience mindset kicks in for me, and this is when I'm feeling unsafe or uncomfortable in my workplace or school environment. Feeling unsafe or uncomfortable, or even angry and frustrated, indicates to me that the interaction I had with someone else may have been harassment. This is why self-awareness is so important. This is why we covered emotional intelligence previously. I have to be aware of my emotions, my feelings, so that I recognize when I feel frustrated, unsafe, angry, uncomfortable, which is an indicator that perhaps I was just harassed. Then I go through the truths of the resilience mindset to empower me before deciding how to move forward and resolve the issues so that I feel safe and comfortable. Let's dive into more detail with the 5 truths of the resilience mindset. Number 1, to do my best work, I must feel valued, appreciated, and safe in my work environment. When I don't feel safe because of what someone said to me or how someone behaved towards me, I know I won't be doing my best work. This is a problem not just for me, but for my employer. If something's causing my work to suffer, it's not only my, but my employer's issue, whether it be harassment or my work computer breaking. Just like the computer must be fixed in order for me to do my work to the best of my ability, the harassment must be resolved so that I feel safe and can do my work to the best of my ability. Number 2, you have a right to feel safe and comfortable in your work environment. Laws exist for a reason, to keep you safe at work. Everyone has a right to feel safe in their work environment. Your employer should want you to feel safe in your work environment so that you do your best work and are the most productive you can be. Number 3, you only have control over your own actions. It is not your fault if somebody makes you feel uncomfortable or unsafe. You simply don't have that kind of control over other people. You cannot control someone to harass you, and you can't control someone to stop harassing you. On the same train of thought, if you feel unsafe or uncomfortable, it is only you who have the power to help you feel safe or comfortable once again. You must be your advocate and speak up for yourself. It is important to focus only on what you can control, because focusing on other people's actions and behaviors will not positively serve you. Behaving in a way that caters to others deprioritizes your own needs and rights. Number 4, everything is a practice. There is no way to go through life perfectly. The same applies when navigating situations like harassment, bias, and discrimination. There is no one right way to address harassment, and this is why it is so difficult to navigate. The important thing to remember is that when you are harassed, this is your opportunity to practice addressing harassment. Like anything, when you practice it, you'll get better at it. Another key word I said was opportunity. This is an opportunity to practice addressing harassment. The first several instances that I was harassed in my workplace, I felt a lot of shame and hid the fact that I was being harassed so that I wouldn't be considered problematic. I felt like the harassment was only a negative situation for me. While it is an incredibly negative situation to be in, I like to change my way of thinking about it from something that happened to me to an opportunity for me to practice navigating harassment, which is my legal right. Now when I'm harassed, I think about it as like, oh, this is miserable that this is happening to me again, but now I begin the fun part of trying to navigate this and learning how to navigate this so that in the future I can navigate these situations even better. Now, because of this course I built, I internally thank my harassers because they're giving me more material so that I can help more people with this information. Now, I am not saying I enjoy being harassed. It is still incredibly uncomfortable and can still be harmful to my health. I'm just finding new ways to view the situation so that it doesn't strip me of my power and instead empowers me when I'm navigating the harassment. It's a practice. Number 5, the situation is not resolved until you feel like you are safe and comfortable in your work or school environment, or you feel like you have reached justice. Not someone else, you. Number 5 comes in when you're taking actions to address the situation. Remember, do what is best for you and seek a resolution that makes you feel safe and comfortable in your work or school environment. A resolution can look different for everyone depending on their comfort levels. Justice has not been reached until you feel like it has been reached. Your goal should be to reach that resolution or reach that justice which you feel is adequate. This is why the laws exist, so that you feel safe and comfortable at work. They're all for you. I encourage you to write down each of these 5 truths of the resilience mindset and read through them occasionally to affirm that you have a right to address the harassment that you face. It is not only your legal right, but it is also in your and your employer's best interest to resolve any issues regarding harassment, discrimination, or bias. Your employer and law enforcement should thank you for reporting harassment because you're doing them the service of not only using the justice system as it's intended to be used, but also to make your workplace, your work environment or school environment culture healthier than before you reported it. After all, you're putting in additional emotional labor above and beyond what your job requirement in order to reinforce the law and also to make your workplace a healthier environment. So, once you go through the resilience mindset and realize that your only option is to report the harassment so that you feel safe and comfortable in your work environment, this is when we get into the reporting framework and you use that to navigate the harassment further. The reporting framework consists of 5 key variables that I consider when I report harassment. There are an infinite amount of approaches you can take when it comes to navigating harassment, so I cannot give comprehensive strategies to resolve each and every issue. From my own experience in navigating harassment, I took my approach and broke it down into 5 variables that I consider when I'm starting to report harassment. These 5 variables shape my decisions and how I approach each different situation. These 5 variables I've called the reporting framework. And this reporting framework establishes how I proceed so that I can feel safe and comfortable once again in my workplace and reach justice. The 5 variables are the following. Number 1, your relationship with the harasser. Number 2, evidence of the harassment. Number 3, your relationship with the person you report harassment to. Number 4, your emotional reaction to the harassment. And number 5, your school or workplace structure and legislation. Each of these 5 variables influence the actions I make to reach justice. Let me describe each one more in detail. Number 1, your relationship with your harasser. This causes me to ask, do I confront the harasser or do I report it to the person I'm supposed to report harassment to? How much power does the harasser have in my university or workplace? Number 2, evidence of the harassment. Do I have evidence that I was harassed? Were there any witnesses present or recorded video surveillance? Number 3, your relationship with the person you report harassment to. Do I feel comfortable reporting harassment formally? Do I feel supported in my school or work environment? Number 4, your emotional reaction to the harassment. Do I feel mentally or physically well enough to take on the emotional labor to resolve this issue? Number 5, your school or workplace structure and legislation. Is the harassment considered illegal by the laws at my university or workplace? What is the system through which I could report if I choose to? In the following videos in this chapter, I review all these incidences when I have experienced harassment or bias, and I go through how I used the 5 truths of the resilience mindset and the 5 variables of the reporting framework to navigate each one. These are provided as examples to you so that you can understand this knowledge and then apply it in your own life. While this way of thinking about navigating harassment really works for me, I want to hear if it works for other people too. I really don't know because I'm the only one who does it this way to the extent of my knowledge. So please reach out to me if this has helped you or if you have developed another way of thinking about it or navigating it. I encourage you to do your own exploration and figure out what works best for you.